Caution, the Mark Gungor Show contains adult content intended for an adult audience. And, besides that, he's really weird. Welcome to the Mark Gungor Show with international marriage speaker and author of Laugh Your Way to a Better Marriage, Mark Gungor. This is your source for practical, down-to-earth marriage advice without all the over-spiritualization or romantic nonsense. And now the host of the Mark Gungor Show, Mark Gungor.
And the crowd goes wild with delirious joy. They've joined the Mark Gungor Show, the show that deals with all things concerning knowledge. Indeed, I'm your host, the one, the only Mark Gungor. Joining me as always, the ever lovely and charming Lady Diane. And of course, the incomparable Philip James Gungor. Engineering the show as always, the very talented but eerily creepy Timothy Robert Ray. Pushing buttons, twisting knobs, and trying to stay awake during this incomprehensibly, immeasurably boring show. This is the show that handles your marital challenges, relational conundrums, and dating dilemmas that you email to us at ask@markgungor.com. What do you got there, sunshine?
I found the perfect meme for you this morning.
Sunshine, where she's gone.
It says, I don't understand your specific kind of crazy.
I'm singing here.
And I'm reading the meme that I found that was you this morning.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't understand your specific kind of crazy, but I do admire your total commitment to it.
Indeed. People all over the world can feel that sentiment.
That's you.
It's not that I'm crazy, it's that I'm so committed to it.
Uh-huh.
A man of commitment.
You might be committed.
There is that outside possibility at play. My children are still working that out. Talking to attorneys.
They're collecting the evidence, making the documentation.
How can we have him put away? All right, what do you got?
Okay, this article, 3 things women unknowingly do that men despise.
No, women don't do anything that irritates us.
And men
women
never
are perfect.
I wish I could find the companion article, but it didn't exist, or I didn't find it.
That's because men never do anything to irritate women. It's in the Bible.
As you so clearly demonstrated before we went on the air.
Somewhere.
Okay, number 1.
One of those missing books.
One of the missing books of the Bible.
Yeah. All right.
Number 1, men hate to be told what to do.
Men hate to be told what to do.
Although women like to contribute and share their ideas, most men do not want to hear how you can fix their problems. Offering a man ideas when he hasn't asked for them makes him nuts. Men do like contribution, but only when they ask for it, you babies. Do not solve his problem.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Men don't have a problem hearing how to fix something.
They do if they don't think it's broken.
They say, hold your ideas in your tongue if you want to tell him what to do. The truth is, men have big egos, and you need to work with that. The best thing you can do is listen and ask questions.
That's not the problem. The problem is they ask us to do something, and then they criticize us for the way we do it. They can't, and I promise you, this is a big problem. Women get mad, not because their guys don't do something. I mean, it eventually gets there, but there's a reason they don't do something. Shall I go through the story? Woman will ask man to do something. Man starts doing something. Woman gets over his shoulder and criticizes the way he does it. There he gets to the point where when she asks him to do something, he doesn't do it. And now she gets mad because he doesn't do anything. It wasn't because he didn't do anything. It's because you're over his shoulder, picking him to death.
So it's not telling him what to do, it's telling him how to do
it is more likely that.
Phil,
I think.
Do you agree, Phil?
Oh, we don't care what he says.
Oh, yes, I do.
I think this is different. This is just a man is doing something, whether he's been asked to do it or not. For example, a man's driving somewhere and he gets lost. He does not want your input unless asked.
All right.
So in other words, we women, the bottom line is, zip it, Skippy.
I think
just shut up.
If he's just doing something on his own and he hasn't asked for your help,
if I want to hear from you, I'll ask for your opinion.
I guess to
that
point, even if you did ask him to do it, which I think my dad was saying.
Yeah. So they go hand in hand?
I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know what I'm talking about.
Anyway,
I don't know why anybody listens to the show.
the second one, a man runs when a woman talks constantly. Men are not our girlfriends. You would agree with this. Men like the back and forth of communication. However, it annoys men when we talk about all of our feelings and thoughts and the drama in our lives. If you want to see a man's eyes glaze over quickly, do the latter.
Okay, again, they're missing. Who was a woman who
It's
wrote
a
this?
woman who wrote it.
All right, see? She doesn't get it either. She sees what is a problem, but doesn't understand. She assumes it's the one when it's really. It's not that we don't want to hear. Well, we don't want. Women just don't tell you what happened.
Well,
They
that's what she's saying.
relive it.
Not in detail.
Where does it
That's
say
what
that?
she's saying. To go on and on.
I don't see anything about detail. She thinks
It's not that men do not listen. They just have short attention spans. If you want to capture a man's heart, it's actually...
it's not. A guy will sit there and be engaged in a sporting event for 3 hours. It's not that we have short attention spans like we're retarded or something, all right? The problem...
That's politically incorrect.
I know, it's really, okay, so we're slow. All right, sue me. So, anyway, shouldn't say that, probably will. It's when they talk, they tell things in such excruciatingly painful detail. They can't just tell you what happened. They have to give you a play by play by play.
So that would be talking constantly.
But she's not getting it. She thinks, well, it's because I brought this up and I brought this up. No. Just the one thing. And it takes longer to retell the story than it took for the story to happen in the first place. It's like being stuck in a black hole where you're actually going backwards in time. When you take a 5-minute event and it takes you 45 minutes to tell the details of that 5-minute event, it makes us a little crazy. So it's not that women just talk constantly. We're all up for talking if we got something compelling to say, and you can kind of summarize one event to the next. It is the detail, in my personal opinion. All right.
I am not like that because I will confess to you, I must have a lot of testosterone when it comes to this because I absolutely despise listening to people go on and on and on. And I tend to interrupt and say, so what you're trying to say is, because whether it's a man doing it to me or a woman doing it to me, so I know that I don't do that just because I hate it so much when somebody does it.
The emails we get to make one point, Phil. Okay. In fact, I always go to the last paragraph when I see a whole bunch of, I get a long thing. I just go to the last paragraph.
I just look for a question.
I'm not going to read all that. No. They will go through their entire family history.
And most of it's irrelevant, by the way. It's
totally irrelevant. None of it has anything to finally get to, so do you think I should, tell my husband to change his underwear? It's like, really? You had to give me all of this? Now, in all fairness, I'm not saying women should not be women. What I'm saying is you should get girlfriends. And then you girls can sit around and you can relive your events and talk it through.
I try so hard with my girlfriends to not do that glaze over thing because I know as a woman I'm supposed to be into all of that.
Okay, so you're a little odd.
I just
in so many ways.
Gosh, I want to throw myself on something sharp.
Let me count the ways.
Stop.
That you're odd.
Stop.
But generally speaking, the girls like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I go to these restaurants and when you sit there, just listen to women talk. And I shake my head. I always tell my wife, man, chicks are so weird.
No, I don't like
they
it.
Talk stuff and it's not that they're saying something; it's the way they say it in such extreme detail. Now, having said that,
but you know what? I do it with my girlfriends because I know that is the kindest way that I can respond to them is sit and just like, oh, I'm dying, but I love you, so I'm listening to this.
Yes. Now, the hypocrisy of everything I just said. Is as a professional speaker, I'm a storyteller, and I'm fairly decent at it. I make a fair, respectable earning from this, corporations and different things. Now, I will take an event, and I will give you the play-by-play in excruciating, but not excruciatingly painful detail. I do it so it's really hilarious. And I relive it, and I pause and tell a little bit more of it. So, it's not like I never do it. I certainly do it, mainly to be entertaining and funny. But again, it's not that the guy doesn't want to hear about stuff. He doesn't want to relive it with you. if you could get past the reliving part of it, I think we'd be much more interested.
And so would I. And the last one, this is what you said. It bothers a man
Women
to
need
hide.
like copy editors.
Yes, they do. They do.
They should all go to like journalism school,
Right?
and they'll teach you. Okay, so if you can say it in 1,000 words, and that's how long it takes, then you
Yes.
need to find a way to cut it in half.
All right, hold it.
He's
You always
fixing
look
your
like you're like,
camera.
No, this time this is way too
I
high.
look great for radio, though.
He's fixing the camera, fixing the camera. Okay, you're fixing that. I'll tell you what the third one is. It bothers a man to high heaven to be corrected or criticized. That's what you talked about.
Yes.
If you-
That we don't like.
Yes. There's ways to tell him that his shirt he is wearing is not the best color on him, but being overly critical will get you a ticket to singlehood. A man's ego is very fragile. Positive reinforcement is a better way of giving men constructive feedback. Watch the way you correct your man.
On the other hand, men will tolerate all three of these to some level just because y'all so cute. Anyway, we'll be back.
Oh, man.
What? Come on. Y'all got the right shapes and curves that keep a man's
I'm
attention.
so glad that there's
we will
something that
tolerate.
you find tolerable
It's tolerable.
about
Well, I tell you what, if a guy
females.
was doing this to him, we take him out back and shoot him. See, because we couldn't say that. But a woman, we'll tolerate it to some degree because y'all so good looking. But even then, we have our limits. All right, we'll be back with more right after this.
Mark Gungor. Yeah, we've got an app for that. Download your free Mark Gungor app today.
Hi, Mark Gungor here, talking to you about our T1 program that we have here at our church at Celebration Church in Green Bay, Wisconsin. It is a transition year program for young people before they go off to college. Here's the situation we have today. Young Christian kids, forget about what the secular world does for a minute. I'm talking about the Christian people, devout Christian people. They want the best for their kids. They want to honor God in their lives. The kids go through high school. The second they get out of high school, whoosh, they shove them off into college, and they never slow down. And then they're off to their careers and stuff like that. The statistics for that are very, very bad. They say, I don't know who studies this stupid stuff, but they'll say as high as 80% of the Christian kids in evangelical churches give up on their faith about 2 years into their college experience. It's an unmitigated disaster. We're all trying to figure out programs and stuff like that. How do we fix it? But here's one of the best ways we can fix it. Slow down. Slow down. You don't need to go running off to college as soon as you get out of high school. We encourage these kids to take a 1-year gap program. Now, there's several of them around the country. We have one here in Green Bay. We hope that you'll consider ours. You can go to T1. Is that just the letter T?
Transition1.org.
Transition1.org. We call it T1R. So it's transition1.org. Look at our 1-year program. What it is instead of running off to college right away, they come and take 1 year and they come to this program. Now, it's not a Bible school, but we do teach from the scriptures, try to build character, but we show them how to do life, how to make decisions, how to be leaders, how to handle money. Something you would think people used to learn. They used to learn this stuff in high school. They don't learn it anymore. They don't learn jack anymore. How to date, how to make decisions about marriage for your life, all these fundamental things. And we breathe life into these young people and teach them how to do life. At the end of the last 3 months of the program, it's a typical school year, the last 3 months, they go on a missions trip. We have various partners around the world where they go and they serve. Now, a lot of people do these mission trips, short-term mission trips. It's like a week here, 7 days here, 10 days there. And it's great that they do that seriously. And even those can be life-changing for kids. But let's be honest. It's more a vacation than a missions trip. 7 days? Are you kidding? They're just having fun flying around and seeing stuff and la, la, la. They come home. It was wonderful. I'm sure it was wonderful. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking 3 months. You're there. You're living with people. You start finding out that the whole world doesn't have Wi-Fi. Anyway, it's a great experience. The Bible says, put first the kingdom of God. Let's teach our kids that. It'll make a huge difference. Transition1.org.
Check your blues at the door.
Check your blues at the door. Check
Kick back, relax, 'cause we're checking
our blues at the door. The music of the Reverend Jimmy Bratcher. Check it out, jimmybratcher.com. He's working on a new album. He just sent me one of the cuts. Check it out.
I thought you were supposed to play on it.
That's another album. I haven't gotten around to that yet. It's like, hey, Timmy, we got the files for that? Man, get on me.
Lame.
Somebody remind me. He's probably...
Lame.
Yeah, let's do it, man. 'Cause what album is that? Is it a Christmas album? Yeah, that's why I've been getting yelled at from him. 'Cause we still got,
Do you have time?
we got some time. I know, but man, if I don't get on it, it'll be December 24th. I go,
Sorry, Jimmy.
I'll forget to record those parts for Jimmy. Anyway, all right, what do you got there?
Okay, first email, she says, my husband and I have been together for 6 years, married for 4 of them. His job requires him to travel during the week and sometimes up to 2 weeks at a time. I often work weekends, so we usually only have evenings together when he's home. We talk to each other every day and have maintained a great relationship despite being apart so much. I think the stress of our schedule has taken its toll on our sex life, though. The only time we have sex now is the night he gets home and the night before he leaves. It feels more like an obligation to maintain our connection to each other instead of something we want to do. On the rare occasions that we get away on a vacation, though, our sex life has instantly gone back to normal. Her question, how can we have a vacation sex life every day?
Well, first of all, I have noticed it is really hard to have sex when you're both in different cities.
Hard to have vacation sex every day when you're not in the same house.
I have found, that to be a hindrance, shall we say. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. What's interesting about this email, she says, I find it sometimes to be an obligation. Do you know the Bible actually refers to it in the context of an obligation? I'm going to teach them about that on Wednesday night. In fact, for years and years and years and years, people actually referred to sex as
my obligation.
Their obligation.
Mm-hmm.
Now that kind of takes the
woohoo out of it.
A little bit of the fizzy swab, but it doesn't have to. Mm-hmm. Okay, my son Phil, who some of you might remember from he's still here. Anyway, had a great analogy on a previous show where he said romance is to marriage what taste is to food, and everybody thinks that the better the taste, the more likely to happen, which there's some truth to that. On the other hand, you can't just always eat what tastes good. Because if you just eat what tastes good, you'll get really fat or get
really
diabetes
sick.
Or really sick, or you're going to die an early death. Because quite frankly, the stuff that tastes the best
It's not good for you.
happens to be the worst. Now, why can't broccoli taste like a double cheeseburger with bacon? I don't understand it. Because that's just a crime. All right? So, the truth of the matter is, in your eating life, you say, well, I'm trying to make everything taste like a cheeseburger. Well, the only way you can get everything taste like a cheeseburger with bacon is to take bacon grease and pour it over everything, which actually I'm not opposed to. I think actually it would be kind of cool, although it might be a little gross on cornflakes. All right? So, anyway. At some point, you go, no, everything doesn't have to taste like a cheeseburger. You need to just eat. And I could write an email to some nutritionist, Dr. Oz or whatever. I don't know what he is. Who cares? He's a nut. And say, dear doctor, I feel like I am eating my broccoli out of obligation. Well, yeah.
How can I make my broccoli taste like a cheeseburger?
Well, you really can't.
No.
Okay? So the fact that part of your sex life at times feel like an obligation, this was talking to a lot of people, and again, I'm going to be doing a whole series or a whole speak on it. I'm going to do a whole speak on it.
I'm a speaker. I'm a professional communicator.
I speak talk for a living. People actually pay me. I'm going to do a speak on it. Good Lord. But there is that whole obligation part of it, and it is what it is. You got to actually, we need to do this, just like we need to eat our broccoli or whatever. Now, then you say, but when we go on vacation, it gets all wonderful and great. Well, yeah, because now you're being intentional and you're getting away from the day. So here's my advice. Go on vacation more. Take more days off. I mean, what you described in your email, dear, is normal. This is normal and quite frankly healthy. And the fact that you are at least having enough sense, we need to deal with this in an obligatory way,
Please be obliged. Please be obliged.
Be obliged, okay? And it's not like eating broccoli. At least, and anyway, I digress. I think what she's doing is perfectly fine, and it's perfectly normal. And she thinks it's not normal, and she's concerned because she doesn't think it's normal, when in fact you are absolutely, perfectly, totally normal. This coming from one of the most abnormal men you'll ever meet.
He has no idea what normal is, friends. He's just making this up.
When a complete nut,
he's read about normal.
When a complete nutcase tells you you're normal, that would be cause for concern. We'll take a break and be back with more emails right after this.
Attend Mark's Laugh Your Way to a Better Marriage event. Visit laughyourway.com for upcoming dates and locations.
Headed down to the river where muddy water flows.
We're back on the Mark Gungor Show. Talking about love, baby.
Okay, this isn't really a marriage question, and I dug down to the bottom of the
So much for
pile.
my love intro.
Sorry, dug down to the bottom of the pile just because in the last segment you said this, and so it caught my eye, or it caught my ear. It's a guy writing.
Your eye ear.
My eye ear. My eye ear. I've heard the phrase "Dear Lord" because you just said it.
Oh, dear Lord.
You said "Dear
Yes,
Lord,"
yeah.
and that's what made me dig down to the bottom of the pile. Said in such a way, seemingly as like saying someone, "Come on, really," or however you mean it. He says, "I've been struggling with it, wondering if it is." Kind of like taking the Lord's name in vain, or at least being irreverent. The question of mine has been difficult for me because it seems like a borderline gray area. He's heard you say it in the DVD seminars or something. He says he's struggling to continue. He's struggling knowing whether he should continue listening to the lessons or not, or whether that's just too much irreverence, and that if it's displeasing to God, he wants to know if you have input on his struggle.
Well, this is probably a longer list of reasons you shouldn't listen to me
So he wants input
from
on
the
whether or not
guy.
he should listen to your.
to continue
the
to
guy.
listen to it because of Dear Lord. Sorry, I'm just
that he's listening to. I get that. I've heard that several times before. People really
call you on that.
Yeah, really ultra conservative.
yes.
And there was a day when you couldn't say anything like that because that was considered blasphemy at some point. You know, you couldn't say, "Dear God," or that was all really bad. "Dear Lord," I don't say "do God" much because I'm still uncomfortable with that. Didn't have a problem with it. Anyway, but on the scale of stuff to worry about, dude. Again, there's a longer list of why you shouldn't listen to me. So if you want to take this one, I'm perfectly fine with it. But I hear people picking up stuff like this, and I'm thinking, man, I'm just trying to get people to quit masturbating, looking at porn, committing adultery, lying, stealing, cheating.
So there's tons of good information on your DVDs or whatever they're listening to, and they'll miss it and totally throw it all out because of this phrase.
Yeah. I would suggest a phrase that Jesus used, talking to people kind of like you. Though I don't know this guy. But he says, you strain at the gnat and you swallow the camel. So out of my DVD, where I'm really forcefully attacking divorce and encouraging fidelity and getting people to turn away from porn and all these bad things that are just tearing at the soul of our very nation, the church, everything. It's poisonous. So at the end of the day of all of that, what you walk away with is, he said, "Dear Lord." Therefore, he's a blasphemer. Then I'm probably not your guy, Go to focusonthefamily.com. Listen to their programs. They're really safe.
And probably nobody will say,
"Oh, dear Lord."
Or,
I don't know. They might
or
even
for the
do.
love of God
For the
or
love of,
anything.
I don't know.
The love of heaven.
They're very, very ultra conservative. That might be your group of guys. Anyway.
It seems like a bit of throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah, again, straining at the net, swallowing the camel.
Yeah.
So someone will buttonhole me, "Do you think I should do that?" And I go, "Gosh, I don't know. I never think about it. I suppose you know what I'm saying. But again, it's just in the terms of what we're trying to do,
It just doesn't seem like...
just very relevant to me."
Okay.
So
I can read this one.
apparently, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. It's hard for me to imagine
I know.
because I love me.
I know you do.
I'm my biggest fan. All right.
know you do.
So I just not everybody. So you actually get used to that. There's people
You get used to what, everybody loving you?
No, not loving
Oh, not
you.
loving you.
There's people I know that they pastor and they live in constant fear and torment because they're concerned at every little thing that they say that might upset somebody. And man, I do not live there. I just assume there's going to be people who don't like me. And I'm perfectly fine with it. I really am. Probably too much so, to be honest with you.
Like me, leave me.
I hate
love
your
me,
guts.
hate
And I'll
me.
go, okay. I'm going to go to lunch now. See, and I won't give it a second thought. There are people who write me just nasty letters and emails, and I go, yeesh, you know, and I'll make my comments about them, and I move on. And just that, I don't have a hard time sleeping at night. Remember one pastor came to me, this one couple in the church who had just been tormenting him for years. All right. And he came to me one day and he said, he was so upset because they left the church. I said, the people who've been torturing you have left the church. Yeah. And you're upset. Yeah. Are you crazy? This should be the happiest day of your life. We'll be back with more after this break.
Caution, the Mark Gungor Show contains adult content intended for an adult audience.
Never easy, never sane. It's all so complicated.
You know it's all complicated.
They look like a rainbow.
We're still laughing. The guy says, how did he say it?
Oh, you're asking me? Sorry. Well, no, I read it or I heard it. My husband has a problem getting offended when he listens to you. Should he continue to listen to you?
And you're asking the guy.
No? Yes?
Yes? No?
Like everybody should keep listening to me, no matter what. Again, I don't know why people get upset that people don't like them. I'm very comfortable with it. And I think really too comfortable, to be honest with you, sometimes, because I do have a very thick skin. I'll go off sometimes when somebody says something, and I'll get really upset about it. But it's not at the person so much. It's just the thinking out there. But even then, I'm fine with it, And
Especially when it comes to strangers.
people you don't know.
Do I care? No. Now, if you're my best friend, and then I'm probably going to have a little bit of a problem with it.
Yeah, and even then, I'm a little too comfortable with that.
Stranger?
If I get a really good friend who gets really mad at me, I go,
Oh, well.
okay. I'm going to watch TV now. It just doesn't bother me. I don't know. Maybe it's why I can do what I do. I mean, one of the things I oftentimes, I have John Brandon. He's a friend of ours. Okay. Hilarious. If you ever get a chance to listen to John Brandon, you've got to go see him. This man is a scream. And not only is he funny, hysterically funny, he's brilliantly funny.
He is intelligent beyond...
Because most of us people who tend to be funny, we're not exactly the brightest.
It's kind of the stupid funny. He's the really smart funny, which makes it even funnier.
We're not known as being, the sharpest stick on the pile.
Don't say weird. Don't put me in that.
I'm talking about people like me.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And
actually,
that. To be honest with you, I'm more cerebral than a lot of, comedians. A comedian. Okay.
Yeah.
Although a lot of them really are pretty bright. That's why they do it. But I mean, Brandon, he's just flat out.
He is genius. Brilliant
at the way he approaches his comedy, and the way he does it on the flies is really great. So anyway, John, every once in a while he'll let his intellect get ahead of himself. And he'll post things that get people upset. So he calls me one day. He says, man, how do you get away with stuff? So what do you mean? He says, I say something, people get all mad and crazy at me, and they're missing my whole point. I said, but I see you do stuff like that, and how do you get away with it? I said, John, the difference between you and me is you care what people say.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I really don't care. I've never cared.
Yeah.
If everybody today quit listening to me and quit wanting to come to listen to me speak, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I really am. I'll just focus more on pastoring. And if the people in my church say, listen, old man, it's time you move along, I go, okay. I'll go speak in corporations. And if corporations don't want to, okay, I don't live in fear. I'll adapt.
Okay.
To whatever situation.
I'm telling you, listen, old man. Move along.
Move along, old man.
Move along, old man.
It's just, there's people who actually live in fear.
Yeah.
Of what happens if something happens. I don't know.
Find something else to do.
Yeah. I'll go back in business. I'll go do something else. I don't know. I'm getting to the point I really should retire. Stop doing anything. So I don't know.
You're not that old.
I know. I'm just saying. Hey, there's a lot of guys younger than me who retire.
I know. At 50.
How do you retire 50, 55? I mean, they literally quit going to work, and every day they just knew nothing, and they just do whatever they want to do. And I just, wow.
Do nothing like you.
Yeah, actually, if you something, that's what I do.
Yeah. Well, that's
I'm not retired.
You don't have to retire because you kind of have a job that
I'm kind of retired.
Half retired as it is.
That is true.
You're not doing the 40, 50, 60 hours a week grind like guys do.
That is true.
Yeah.
Let's talk more about me.
So weird.
I just love the subject.
You're so weird. Okay, she says, next email, moving on. My husband
And he's
is
an expert on the subject.
That's the thing.
He's an expert.
Some people really know what they're talking about in certain areas. That's my advice.
Talk about what you know.
Yeah. He has a little bit of a delusional knowledge about this. You need to talk to those of us who know the
true
full
story.
Monty here.
All right, what do you
Okay,
got?
she says, my husband of 7 years is friends with his ex-wife and many of his past girlfriends on Facebook.
Is it a friend?
My husband
Oh, your husband
of
is
7 years is friends
with his ex.
ex-wife and many of his past girlfriends on
Okay.
Facebook.
Okay.
He likes and comments on their posts. He sends them messages on their birthdays, and he shares things on their pages. We were together on a vacation once, and he posted a picture that he took of a landmark that we had just visited to his ex's page, because apparently they had been to the same place together at one point. She says, I don't understand the need for any contact, and especially not the reminiscing. I have told him many times that it concerns me. He says there's nothing to worry about, and he is just friends with them. He has never made any attempt to reconnect with them in any other way other than Facebook, as far as I know. But I feel like this behavior is on the verge of cheating. Am I overreacting?
I got two answers to this. Number one, all you women, I've said this, if you've ever listened to me for more than one or two shows, you know that you set how you will be treated. Straight up. People say, well, what about this? Should this happen? It doesn't matter. All that matters is what you think is appropriate or inappropriate. Every woman sets the standard for how she will be treated in many different ways. And that's a whole long talk, which I don't want to go down to that dark hole on again at this particular time. On the other hand, you know for a fact, he's been doing this since the day you've known him, for 7 years. You know that he never does anything beyond that. Am I overreacting? I'd go, yeah. You know, if he has absolutely established the fact, first of all, if I were you, I would have never tolerated it from day one. I would have said, this is how we do this. We don't text our exes anymore, okay? The reason why they're called X. You put an X on them. They're X'd out, okay?
Removed.
Removed. When you hit the X
As
thing
it used to be.
on your computer, you delete.
Yeah.
It's delete. Now, but you didn't do that. And you haven't been doing it for 7 years. Now, if this was leading to very inappropriate behavior, or now you got a real strong case. The fact that by your own admission, all he'll do is on occasion, he stays nice with his ex. All right? Which there's some things really odd about it. I just don't understand people. If you're that good with your ex, why are they your ex? I've never understood these people. You know what's really weird is ex sex. This is a big deal. A lot of people, they get divorced and they still get together and have sex. If you can still get naked and have sex with somebody, why are you divorced for them? Well, because we disagreed over the dog. I mean, the people think like this. They're the dumbest people on earth. I don't know what the heck they're thinking. Anyway, having said all that, in your particular situation, despite you failing to set the standard how you want to be treated, I think, what was her last question? Am I
overreacting?
Yeah, I think you should. Yeah, I think you are at this point. You have proven, he has proven to you over 7 years, it's never more than a post. Well, then, move on, lady. Just relax. You've let him know that for 7 years, this is okay. That you don't have a problem with this. When all of a sudden you have a problem with it, that's the other thing. People, it's like playing a soccer game. My son's into soccer, a sport which I loathe. Just don't get it. Anyway, if you're playing a sport, you're soccer, and then you start changing the rules partway into the game, which in soccer I would do. Because I think the rules are moronic. It would be a way funner game. Funner. Because I speak for a living. It would be a way funner game if I made the rules. Man, we'd open up this baby. We'd have some serious scoring. I'd get rid of offsides, that's for sure. That's the dumbest rule I ever thought. So anyway, but you don't change the rules halfway in the game. Now, again, if he is doing something highly inappropriate, and committing adultery, whatever. Okay, that's one thing. But you've set the standard. She set the standard for the last 7 years that it's okay if he does this, and he's been fine with it. He's never done anything more than that. Now, for you to come and say, "Well, we're going to change the rules now," I think you're going to have nothing but trouble. You can do that if you want, but lots of luck with that. I think do you agree with me on this one? in his particular case, 7 years. It's never been more than happy birthday, good to see you, and that's okay.
Right. I just would have had a problem with it from the start,
From
and
the
it would not
get-go.
have continued.
Oh yeah, I think
so it's hard for me.
You X the X
to jump in 7 years and go, oh, now I don't like it.
Yeah, that's what I think is weird.
Because I would not have done it for 7 years.
Now, if he's doing this for 7 years and it's really bad behavior, well, then you got to really step in and confront it.
Right.
I don't think he has anything to confront any boy. Now, here's the problem: when she describes this to any of her girlfriends, they'll all get upset and say he should stop that.
Yeah.
But she has set the standard. What these women don't understand, they set the standard from the get-go.
Yeah.
The way you allow him to treat you is you're the one setting that standard. Now, you can try and reset the standard. Lots of luck with that. But if you wrote accurately about the situation, I would just suck it up, buttercup.
She had a problem with it from the beginning.
How do you know?
Well, I'm just making an assumption here, but that's what we do, right?
Yes, that's what we do.
Yeah,
He's
we do.
learning, Diane.
He's getting it.
See, I can die now, and he can take over.
I think if I understand the rules to this game,
We
she
assume
probably
lots.
had a problem with it from the get-go, but she did what I think a lot of women do, and she just assumed, well, he'll get it that I'm not
That I don't like
happy
it.
with it, and he'll change. He'll change. He'll change. He'll change.
Oh, you're
7
dead
years
on right.
later,
That's exactly what happened.
oh, he never changed. Well, should
Now
I
I
say
don't-
something now?
Yeah. I haven't liked it for all this time.
You know that's what happened.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. But she set the standard again. If it was leading to serious problems, I would confront it and deal with it. The
Right.
truth of the matter is, she is, by her own admission, admits
If it's nothing more.
it's not a problem. I would suck it up.
And if he was writing in, we'd probably say, yeah, you should stop. If he said, hey, my wife doesn't like that I do
Yeah.
this, what should I do?
Stop.
Stop. Don't be an idiot. Wait, go back on film.
We're still adjusting
Still
camera.
trying to adjust this camera. We're short a camera person today. All right. That's enough of this nonsense. We'll be back with another email right after this. I think. There
Want more of Mark? Visit markgungor.com. There you will find everything that Mark has to offer.
What will you do? What will you say
When the blues come. I'm surprised Jimmy doesn't have me sing on his own.
Well, I'm not surprised.
What? What do you got?
Okay, flag page question.
All right.
He says.
That's what you should do on his tracks that he sent you. You want
You
to
should
play
sing.
them? You should actually sing. And
Send them back and go, wait, what is this? You want me on your album, man? I'm on your album. The flag page, for those of you who do not know, is a fun little program that you can go online at flagpage.com and take this little test. Very affordable. And it gives you an analysis of what makes you tick. If you haven't done it yet, you need to go do it. If you don't do it, you should all be arrested.
Okay, so he says.
How's that for a sales pitch?
They did their flag
Don't go to
pages.
jail. If you don't buy my product, you should all be in prison. All right, go ahead.
They did their flag pages. His ended up with competent, self-sufficient, avoids conflict, independent, and low key.
All right, so competent says, I don't need you. Self-sufficient says, I don't need you. Avoids conflict, I want to stay away from you.
Independent
says, I really don't need you. And low key is, don't bug me
Yes.
because I don't need you that
Yeah,
much.
so he says, I am not a people person.
Yeah, really?
Clearly.
Really? I don't know where he gets that from.
Clearly. My
In fact,
wife.
on his flag, we don't have the extra camera running around it, but there's no people, anything.
No.
There's not a spot of blue in
No,
the entire-
it's all green.
It's all
no
green.
blue.
It's
Blue
not
is the
easy being
people.
green.
Okay, yeah, that's
there you
right.
go. I guess I could have done
You can
that.
show
Not
it that
supposed
way.
to show the name.
Oh, you can't see the name.
That's
from
not
there.
from that far away. Okay. He says, my wife's were sincere at heart, inspirational, sympathetic, faithful, thrives on encouragement.
Okay, so sincere heart is I feel what you feel. Inspirational is I want to make you better. Sympathetic is I have great sense to what you're going through. Faithful is I'm totally committed to you. And thrives on encouragement is I need to hear from you.
Yes.
All right, so
She is a real people person, he says.
yeah, so she's all blue
And he's
and he's no blue.
green, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so then they did their rules, which,
So they're different.
Right.
What a shock.
yes,
What a shock.
totally opposite.
Opposites tend to attract.
Yes.
Because who wants to marry themselves? Good
Right.
grief. Ugh. All
Right.
Okay.
So as she said, everything on her flag page is about him, and everything on his flag page is
about him.
So it's all about him.
So everything on my
Okay?
flag page is about me,
Yes.
and everything on her flag page
Yes.
is about me.
Yes. He says,
All
so my
right.
question is, are traits or desires like mine things that need to be fixed, or is it okay to be me? And secondly,
No, let me answer that question.
Okay.
No, you don't need to be fixed. It is who you are. It is fine. Next.
Secondly, do my traits doom me to not provide for her needs?
No, but I mean, here's the thing. The point of the flag page isn't so that you can say, this is who I am, and I don't have to do it and make any effort. That's not true. It doesn't doom you. What dooms you is you sitting around being lazy and not wanting to speak into her life. Just because I am by nature a certain type of person doesn't mean I got to say, well, I'm just that kind of person. I don't have to do anything. You know what I'm saying?
It's just not me.
It's just not me. That's not me.
Take it or leave it.
And there's people that are like that.
the way I am.
Oh, yeah.
I know
there's people who take this test, and it just validates their narcissism. And there's a bunch of narcissistic,
we hear from them.
self-centered
we hear from their poor
monsters.
spouses.
Oh, my good grief. Oh, it's just me. My flag page is on the side. Really? How about you not be a jerk? Got another word for it, but in an upcoming book, we'll get to that. So anyway, it doesn't doom you to anything. It's fine that you are who you are. It doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean that you can't do things that are outside your comfort zone. Okay? So for you to say, look, I just like being by myself, doesn't mean you get to never talk to your wife. That would make you a jerk, though I'm thinking of another word. All right. So keep going. What else we got?
Oh, yeah, on his question? Oh, his last question was, if I don't need fixing, how can I meet her needs?
All right. By stepping outside of your box. I will say this, though. Something that you won't hear probably on Focus on the Family. God bless. I like those guys. We're good friends. We're a little different, if you haven't told, in our approach. I do not buy into this argument or thinking that spouses are required to meet all the needs of their spouse. I think it's patently absurd. You got someone, and this is a very common in a lot of couples. One couple is very much a people person. The other person is not a people person. So the one would scream that, oh, he has to meet all the needs. Now, what I'm saying is he needs to make an effort, and probably more of an effort than he's doing right now. But at some point, that green guy is never going to be enough for Miss Blue. It'll never be enough.
But he needs to work at accommodating that to some degree.
To some degree. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, that's being said. He needs to just go, oh, that's who I am. That just makes you a jerk. Although I'm thinking of a three-letter word that starts with an A, ends with an S. All right, so we're getting closer to revealing the word here. I haven't said it yet.
I feel like Vanna White. Should I be touching turning the letters?
Vanna, push. That's what we should do. We should have our own board.
Ding.
And Dana can go.
Ding.
What's her name?
Vanna White.
Vanna. I said Dana. Okay, Vanna. So anyway.
You're giving a better reason for that guy to
not listen to our show.
To you,
Well, I told him right from the get-go he should change channels. All right. So, having said that, he needs to make more effort and not be a jerk. No, just who I am. Okay, we settled it.
Yes.
He needs, because your wife needs the time from you. So you got to stretch. But what she has to understand is he'll never meet all of that.
Right.
What's your answer? Get some friends. Now, the wrong answer is to try to get another man to do this. This will lead to an adulterous affair that will destroy everything in your life. And if a guy's a certain way, he needs to get it from other friends if his spouse doesn't give it. Doesn't mean he gets a girlfriend, because that leads to an adulterous affair and will destroy your life. Are y'all listening to me? So, my dear lady, get some girlfriends. Sit and talk with them. Like we started at the beginning of the show. You want to relive things in excruciating, painful detail? Find some girlfriends, go to lunch, and tell, for 3 hours an event that took 4 minutes. And then it's fine. Then you guys will love it. You say, oh, that was a wonderful thing to learn about what happened in 4 minutes. And it took us 3 hours to talk about it. Okay, great. Do that. Just don't do it to him. This idea, which you will get from a lot of people, I say focus because I actually had that question thrown at me. Pastor, don't you think a man should meet all the emotional needs of his wife? I said no. And I'll never forget the lady. She goes, what? I mean, she just literally, what? Well, guys, the thinking. How crazy is that? You're not under an obligation to meet all the needs of your spouse. It's absurd. No wonder some of you guys are so miserable. Some of your marriage is so awful, so intolerable. Get a life. Good Lord. Marriage was never designed to be two people on an island. It's just you two on an island. You turn into cannibals and you'll eat each other. Get some friends for the love of God, which some people think is using God's name in vain. It's not God's name in vain. It's for the love of God. God is love. We should love God. For the love of God, get some friends. And that is the end of today's Flag Page lesson. We'll be back with more right after this.
Have a marriage dilemma? Email your questions to ask@markgungor.com, and Mark can answer them during one of our shows.
steam milk, lots of froth. Makes a mustache and I love to lick it off.
Ooh, we're back on the Mark Gungor Show.
For certain.
Phil and I were just talking. Came back from the break that we played the song with the band, and we played it 4 times. And the 4th time I was more lost than the first time.
Because you just didn't get it.
Oh, it was a complicated chart. It was like, for any musician out there, it was like, you know, double DS to the 4th jump to this thing, and like, where are we? I had no idea. I was so lost.
We're very confused.
One of the times I actually did it all the way through. I was there. I felt, okay, I got it. So I'm ready. And as soon as I was totally hard to imagine that I would be confused and lost at any given
You
time.
Could
would be
listen to the
confused
songs
and
before
lost.
he sits down
You could
to play
actually come
Yeah, but-
prepared.
What joy would there be in that?
them. It takes all the fun out of it if you practice it.
I'm a slacker. All right.
I'm trying to debate here now that you used up all this time, which one we're going to fit in.
We could
here.
just talk about me some more.
No, we shouldn't.
Oh.
This is a short one, but you'll have to just fill up the rest of the time now.
All right.
He wants to know, how important is physical and sexual attraction when a Christian man seeks a wife? If a man feels no sexual attraction to a particular woman, should he marry her?
This is going to be an odd answer, which will shock my audience, that I would have an odd answer. But if you're with a woman and you can feel no sexual attraction to that woman, there might be something wrong with you. I mean, you should be able to feel some attraction to any woman. I would think they're all beautiful to me. The older I get, the more beautiful they become.
So the whole just get married for companionship and to build a life together.
To more directly answer it, I think I know what he's saying. Because I'm just being a smart aleck. I mean, you're with a woman.
No, we have to turn those letters again. You're being a smart
jerk. Or what's the word of the day? Well, we're going to do a whole show on that. But anyway, what was I talking about?
What he's trying to say.
Oh, okay. What he's trying to say is he just doesn't feel that attracted to a woman. I would say, in general, that if you're dating someone and you're not that attracted to them, you probably should move on. Okay? I think if you can be with a woman and you can't possibly imagine any kind of sexual connection, I think it's a little odd to me. But that's me. I'm Latino. The force is strong in our family.
I'm so sorry for you, Phil. Carl, I am so sorry for you.
Maybe not him. Maybe the force was broken. Praise God. But me and my siblings, it was rather strong. But yeah, if you're with somebody and they make you want to, I don't know, vomit, move on. Find someone you like. All right, see ya.
Bye-bye, boys.
Have fun storming the castle.